What's up guys, and welcome back to Software Solutions, and today we're talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and its latest season, which is Season 5. Now, something I would like to point out there, and I'm just going to get it out there, is Season 5 isn't as bad as the previous seasons. That's something I'm just going to point out, is that maybe the developers didn't smoke as much crack as they normally do on Season 5, because Season 4 was a complete fuck-up. Season 3 was a fuck-up. Every time Call of Duty does an update, they intend to fuck up their game. Now, there's a lot of things that have changed with Season 5 in the settings menu, and then also just in general with settings for your Windows and stuff like that, the config file, all those beautiful things. All you're going to need to do is follow my guidelines and you should be good to go with the latest season to have a really good gameplay experience with a low-end machine, medium-end machine, to a high-end machine, to the best of machines that's out there. Follow my guidelines and you should be good to go. Alright, let's jump straight into the first step. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the first thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is you're going to come to the start button over here and go to settings and come over here where it says update and security. I highly recommend you go ahead and check for your updates for Windows 11 or 10, whatever Windows you are running. It's very crucial for your machine to stay up to date. As much as Call of Duty is doing updates, your Windows also needs to stay up to date. If you get an option here at the bottom that says download and install, please go ahead and download and install it. Your machine might ask you to restart your computer, then just go ahead and watch my video to the end and then you can restart your computer. You are going to need to restart your computer once you are done with all the settings I'm about to show you in any ways. So just follow my entire video till the end and then you can restart your computer after all the settings that we're going to be changing. From here you're going to go to the home button and you're going to come to gaming and then scroll till here where it says game mode, and then make sure you have game mode turned on for Season 5. Game mode turned on in Season 5 actually has a benefit in the game. You get less stuttering and stuff like that, and I highly recommend you go ahead and turn it on. Don't have it off. From here you're going to go to graphics settings and you're going to come inside here where it says hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. You are going to turn this off. If you have yours on like this, I highly recommend turning it off. It might ask you to restart your computer as well, but you're going to do that once you are done watching my entire video till the end. Then you can restart your computer, because you're going to need to restart your computer to apply all of the settings I'm about to show you. And like I said, just follow my guidelines and you should be good to go. From here, you're going to click on the home button and you're going to go to privacy, scroll all the way down to where you see it says background apps, and you're going to turn this from on to off. All of these things are running in the background and you don't want these things running in the background using your CPU, your GPU, VRAM usage, and your RAM. You don't want it to do that, so go ahead and turn this off. If you are a Windows 11 user, it's a little bit different. It's more complicated basically. You have to individually disable them by clicking one by one and clicking disable. Now, I'm not a Windows 11 user, and for all the OG people out there that still has Windows 10, smash that motherfucking like button, because I'm just going to point this out there. Yeah, I'm going to get hate comments down below saying, yo dude, Windows 11 is so much better. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Windows 11 is unoptimized. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is optimized. So you're using two cons in that sentence right there. So you have two cons running neck and neck next to each other, which is bad. Windows 11, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Both of them are unoptimized, so you might have a really insane machine, like a really good machine, but you're getting really bad FPS. The reason is because you have two cons there. Call of Duty is unoptimized, and Windows 11 is unoptimized. Now, I don't want to hate on Windows 11. A lot of people are using Windows 11. It's just that I'm an OG enthusiast, so I don't use Windows 11. Unless they force me to move over to Windows 11, then I'll go ahead and do that. Then I'll probably do some tweaking in settings and stuff like that for my Windows 11 as well. Unfortunately, I don't use Windows 11, so if you are a Windows 11 user, go Google how to disable these things individually. Just go Google it and you should be good to go. From here, we're going to close out of this and let's jump straight into the next step. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the next thing I highly recommend you go ahead and do is this over here. Go ahead and make sure that you have the latest graphics card drivers installed on your machine. As you can see, this is Nvidia's latest graphics card driver, which is 536.67, and they're going to be releasing a new driver for AMD and Nvidia cards in this month. So just make sure that you keep an eye out for the latest version. I know a lot of people out there are running or rolling back their drivers to get a better performance out of this game. Now, for me personally, I run the latest versions and my game runs perfectly fine. I don't really see a significantly increase in running a lower version of the graphics card drivers. But if you do, go ahead and with all please, it's a personal preference, go ahead and do that. But I highly recommend that you go ahead and make sure that you have the latest graphics card driver installed on your machine. Alright, let's jump straight into the next step. Alright, so the next step I really recommend you go ahead and do is this over here. You're going to come to the File Explorer, you're going to open this up, come to Documents, going to go to Call of Duty, players, and then come inside here where it says options3.cod22. Open this up with any notepad or any editing software, and then scroll all the way down. Now we're going to have a look at this over here. All of these over here, okay? There is more options that they added inside here, but I'm not going to go over it because there's a lot of things inside that I've tried changing, and it doesn't do anything to my game. Okay, so I don't see like performance increase or FPS increase. I don't see anything like that. So if you haven't done this already and you've never been inside this options 3.cod22 config file, I highly recommend that you go ahead and change this over here. Alright, so the first thing would be this one over here, which is the renderer work account. Now yours might be defaulted to a certain number, like, I don't know, 3, 5, 7, whatever the case might be. It might be set to a default number. You are going to put your total cores inside here. Now, trust me, this does work, and it will give you a significantly increase in FPS by like 20 to 30 to 35 increase in FPS just by changing this. Now right now with Season 5, I highly recommend you go ahead and put your total cores inside here. As you can see, I have 8 there. I have an 8-core, 8-thread CPU. It's a 9700K overclocked with a water cooling loop on it. Now, a lot of people have asked me, yo dude, when I put this to half, and I half my cores, my total cores, not your threads, not your performance cores, your total cores. That's what you're going to put inside here, okay? A lot of people have said, yo dude, when I half my cores, I do more FPS. Right now for Season 5, that is not a thing, and it doesn't work. I've tried it. I do less FPS by halving my cores. I do more FPS by putting my total cores inside here. So what you're going to need to do is put your total cores inside there. So no matter if it's 4, if it's 6, if it's 8, if it's 12, if it's whatever, put your total cores inside here, and you're going to see a significantly increase in your FPS inside this game. Alright, from here, this one over here, you don't really need to play with in the config file, because you're going to change this inside the game once we are inside the game. As you can see, mine is on 0.90. The reason why that is like that is because I have my video memory scale in-game at 90%. If yours is at 50, it will say 0.50, or let's say 75 or 80, it will say 0.80 or 75. You don't have to do anything inside here. It's going to be done inside the game. This one over here played a very big role with the previous season and the season before that, and it still plays a very big role in this season for Season 5 as well. A lot of people have this changed from true to false, and apparently it does give you more FPS inside the game. Apparently it does. You can test this out yourself if this actually works. For me, it doesn't do much. I maybe get like 1 FPS more, and I mean 1 FPS is not going to make my game run any better by having 1 FPS more. It's not going to do anything to my machine. So I have mine still at true, but for you with a lower generation machine, if you have a lower generation machine, you can type in false. Type in false. I highly recommend you can go ahead and try this. It can give you an FPS increase. If yours is already false, just leave it like that. Don't change it to true, leave it at false. Alright, we can skip over this because you can actually do this inside the game. And then a lot of people are changing this from the version from 1 to 0. I don't recommend you go ahead and do that because I've seen people change this and then they say, oh, I get a little bit more FPS or my game runs a little bit smoother, there's less stuttering and stuff like that. You can try this out, but I don't recommend it because I don't see any difference between mine being 0 and mine being 1. So I'm just going over this config file just to put this out there. And it's something I just want to say as well. If you've done some changes inside here, let's just say you've done this over here and your game runs much better and you're doing more FPS, then this is a very good option that you have changed. This one as well, if you change this to false. But if you start changing things inside there that you shouldn't be changing, and your game doesn't want to launch or your game crashes and stuff like that, then there's something you can do to basically help you out by saving your machine from fucking out or your game not running anymore, to how to fix that. Now, once you change your config over here, your renderer work account, and you change the things inside here that you needed to change, you're going to click on File and then Save. Now, if you've done something inside you and your Call of Duty doesn't want to work, for instance, or the game crashes or whatever the case might be, you can just close out of this and then right-click on this and click Delete. Once you open up Call of Duty, it will automatically make a brand new config file for you, and it will go to its defaults, and then you can play around with it again. Maybe just change your total cores to its total cores, and you should be good to go. It's a safety feature. That's all it is. It's just a safety feature. All right, let's jump straight into the next step. You're going to type in SFC spacebar / scan now, just like this, and you're going to press enter. It will scan through your entire machine to find out if there is any corrupt files. So if your game's crashing and stuff like that, this could fix it, and I highly recommend you go ahead and do that. Windows will automatically fix the errors for you, and I recommend that you do this. If you are watching my video right now and you have never done this before, please go ahead and do this. If you are getting crash errors and stuff like that, please go ahead and do this. You also need to do this just to find out if you have any corrupt files on your machine. Windows will automatically fix it for you, and you should be good to go. Alright, let's jump straight into the next step. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the next step I highly recommend you go ahead and do is come to Nvidia control panel. Right click on your desktop, open up Nvidia control panel if you are an Nvidia user like me. You're going to come here where it says adjust image settings with preview, and then you're going to go over here where it says use the advanced 3D image settings. Make sure you have this ticked, and then click on take me there. It's basically just going to take you to manage 3D settings, and it's going to take you to this over here. Now, a lot of people has asked me, yo dude, why don't you do Call of Duty itself? Just the game itself, and change it inside here. The reason why I don't do that and why I use global settings is because when you use global settings, it's not just going to help for Call of Duty. It will actually help for every single game you are playing. So trust me, use this instead of doing it through program settings. Use the global settings. Now all you're going to need to do is just copy every single settings I have inside here, because I don't want to just explain this with every video I do. I don't need to do that. I don't need to explain this every time, because it makes my video much longer, and a lot of people don't like long ass explained videos. I want to make it short, sweet, and simple. So you're just going to copy everything inside here exactly the same as mine. Okay? So everything inside here exactly the same as mine. One thing I want to go over is low latency mode, and I'm going to go over it again with my Modern Warfare 2 video as well. Yes, I know I went over it for Warzone, but I'm going to do it with Modern Warfare as well. If you have low latency mode on over here, and you only have Ultra, that means it's overriding the on version. It means that your machine wants you to use Ultra, and you can only use Ultra in any ways, because you only have the Ultra version, or because you only have the Ultra option. So I highly recommend you go ahead and select Ultra. If you have on and Ultra, go with on. Just make sure you don't have this off. Please don't turn this off. Have this on. It can actually help your machine run a little bit better. The reason why I say this is because your GPU and your CPU will keep up with one another much quicker, much faster, and the game will run much smoother. Then, if you see an apply option here, go ahead and click on that. From here, you're going to go to config, surround, and physics, and this is your physics handling. Your GPU does your physics handling inside your games, so I highly recommend you go over here where it says processor, click on it, and select your dedicated graphics card, not your CPU, not auto select, your dedicated graphics card, and say apply. From here, you're going to go to adjust desktop color settings, and you're going to come inside here. Now, as you can see, this is my main display, and then my other two monitors. Now, at this very moment, I highly recommend all you're going to need to do is follow these steps. Number 1. Brightness 50%, because you're going to change it inside the game, the brightness, not inside here. You're going to change your brightness in all your games, not inside Nvidia control panel. So 50, which is its default, 65 on the contrast. Trust me, this helps a lot with every monitor. Doesn't matter if it's a gaming monitor, display for a laptop, or a TV, or anything that you are playing on right now as a display, use it at 65. Then something I want to go over is this over here, and it plays a very big role inside this game, and in all games in general, is the digital vibrance. Now I have mine at 95, which is my sweet spot. Now something I just want to point out is this, and I'm going to yet say it again. If you have very bad eyesight, I don't recommend that you put this at 95. Click on image 3, and then pull this all the way down yourself, and you're going to see that your screen becomes black and white. Now, its normal default settings is 50, like this, alright? So, 50. Can I get this onto fucking 50? Alright, 50. So, this is your default settings. Now, as you can see, your screen has now become the way it looks, right? But, when you start pulling this up, let's say to about 70, right? You see your color pop way more on your screen, okay? Now, for people out there with bad eyesight, I highly recommend you either do 70 or you do 75. And if you have really no problem with it, I recommend going with 80 over here. If you have no problem with putting this on like this. It's just a safety feature for your eyes. In the long run, if you have this at too much like me. I have mine at 95. It's really, really strong on the eyes. I just don't want people, in the long run, like, fucking up their eyes, for instance, even worse than what it already is. So I recommend playing around with this. It's your own personal preference. Mine has been 95 ever since I've been playing Call of Duty, so I highly recommend you choose your own personal preference inside here. I go with 95, and then I apply my settings like this. And then the game pops much better. All my games, not just Modern Warfare. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, once you're done with this, let's jump straight into the game settings, and let me show you the best settings you can use right now for Season 5. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see in my game right now, I'm doing about 130 FPS. Now, I normally do 145 to 150 FPS in this selection screen over here for the game modes. Now, the reason why I'm doing less FPS is because I'm recording with OBS, and I also have Wallpaper Engine running in the background. So something I want to point out is this. If you're running this game through Steam, or you have Steam, I'm running mine through Battle.net, and I still have Steam, but I run Wallpaper Engine. If you run Wallpaper Engine, please go ahead and pause it. You can pause it, or you can just quit it. It will give you more FPS. The reason why I say to do that is because Wallpaper Engine actually uses your VRAM usage, okay? Now, obviously, you aren't recording, you are just playing the game, so you'll get the best FPS out of this game that you could possibly be getting by just following my guidelines, and you should be good to go. Now, something I want to point out is this over here. I'm hovering over Strike. This is a map that is an OG map from the olden days. It takes me back to my childhood days. And it's amazing that they put it back into Call of Duty Season 5. I love this map, and I love playing it. I grind the living shit out of this fucking map. And I'm not joking. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so what I'm going to do right now is show you the best settings for every single person out there that's running whatever machine. You can run a low-end machine, mid-tier machine, to a high-end machine. Okay? It doesn't matter. If you're playing ranked, if you're playing normal game modes and stuff like that, I'm going to give you the best settings for Modern Warfare 2 Season 5. Alright, so you're going to click on this little guy icon over here and go to Graphics. You're going to come to the Quality tab. Now, something I just want to point out is this over here. The display settings. I have mine at full screen exclusive, and I highly recommend you put yours at full screen exclusive. Now, I had people commenting down below on my previous video of Warzone saying, yo, dude, I'd rather put mine on, borderless, or, windowed mode, and stuff like that, because I've got multiple screens. That's the comments that I get. Now, I'm just going to put this out there. This is my opinion, okay? I'm not saying you have to do that, but with full screen exclusive, you get less input latency. You get less stuttering in the game if you have your game at full screen exclusive. I also have multiple monitors, okay? Now, I know people are saying like they can alt-tab and then go to other screens if they have it at borderless or, windowed mode and stuff like that. For me, if I want to go to my other screens, like to Discord or YouTube to listen to music or whatever the case with other screens and whatever I'm doing on my other screens, I just press the Windows key and it minimizes my entire game and I'm on my desktop. So it's your own opinion there. Literally, it's your own opinion. It's literally everyone's own opinion on what you're going to do there. But I recommend full screen exclusive. Just going to point it out there. Alright, so you're going to come to the Quality tab over here like this. Now, I'm running my game with Intel's upscaling. Now, I had a lot of comments on my previous video, also people asking, yo dude, why is it that you use upscaling and sharpness, like sharpening in the game? Why do you use this? The reason why I use this is because it can actually benefit you in the game. You can get more FPS than rather using a preset by going to minimum or basic or balance or ultra. Trust me, it's literally much better using an upscaling. Every single person that's playing this game right now, ever since the first season, or since the game came out in pre-alpha mode, whatever the case might be, until now, is using upscaling. There might be a handful of people that's using the game by just playing through minimum, basic, balance, or ultra. I recommend you use the upscaling in the game. Now, for people out there that's running really high-end machines, I really recommend this option over here, the Intel. Now, yes, I had comments down below saying, yo, dude, I do less FPS by using this upscaling. Now, if you're doing less FPS with this upscaling, then obviously you're going to need to change it. That's common knowledge. I mean, yeah. Anyways, I don't want to say that a lot of people don't have like brain cells in their fucking minds. But anyways, if you are doing less FPS by using this upscaling, okay, then it means your machine can't handle this correctly. Now, there's a couple of settings I'm going to show you for competitive settings. Okay, now, this, for me, I run competitive. I play ranked mode with this upscaling. okay? And my game looks fantastic. I use Intel, Ultra, 90% of my video memory scale, normal, high, this high, this high, okay? Go ahead and do that if you have a machine that can handle it. If you are losing FPS, I recommend that you change off of this upscaling to, for instance, a lot of people are also using Nvidia DLSS. If you are an Nvidia DLSS user, I highly recommend you put this at quality and then have this at your own personal sharpness, okay? It's going to depend on your screen, your monitor, your display, your TV, whatever you are using as a display unit, okay? Now, something I would recommend is this. If you're using Nvidia DLSS and you have an Nvidia card, go to quality. You can get away with balanced, but with performance and ultra performance, I don't recommend it, because what Nvidia DLSS does, once you start moving and you don't stand still, the left and right hand side of your screen starts blurring. Now the blur becomes even worse if you put this on performance or ultra performance. Yes, you get more FPS, but the game starts looking like dog shit, and you don't want that. So if you're using Nvidia DLSS and you prefer Nvidia DLSS, go to quality and have this as your own personal preference. Okay, cool. We're going to go down to Nvidia image scaling. Now, with high-end machines to medium-end machines, I highly recommend using this option. It's a very, very good option. Highly recommend it, okay? Go with Nvidia image scaling, go with ultra quality. You can get away with quality as well. You can also get away with native. Then it will automatically overwrite the settings in the game and run your game at its resolution of your monitor, okay? So let's say 720p, 1080p, 1440p, 2K, 4K, native will run it as its resolution that it's rendered at, okay? So that's native. But for me, if you are wanting to get a really good quality out of the game and your machine is fine enough to run this preset or this upscaling and sharpening, go with quality and you should be good to go. You can even go with ultra quality if you can get away with it and your FPS is perfectly fine still, go with this. Then your sharpness is your own personal preference. I have mine at 10. It's your own personal preference. It's going to depend on your screen, your specific display. Alright, so for people out there that's running lower end generation graphics cards and lower generation CPUs and stuff like that, and they're struggling with this game with FPS, I recommend that you go ahead and use this. If you have an Nvidia graphics card, right, and you have this upscaling, you can put this to balanced, this to this, normal over here. I would recommend normal. Low makes the game look really bad, and I don't recommend it. You go normal over here, and then from here you change this from 90 to 70. You can just click in here and type in what you want. So 75 is also okay. And then also another one would be 65 would also be okay. And then you're going to change this from normal to low. Have that at high, have this at high, and have this at high. This is for competitive settings, so you can have more of an advantage over your game. You want your game to run smooth, okay? And look good at the same time. Now, there's more upscaling and sharpening, so let's go over it. Alright, for people out there that's really struggling with FPS, all you're going to need to do is this over here. Now, this is for AMD users and Nvidia users. You can use this upscaling if you're struggling with FPS. You're going to come over here and go to AMD FSR, and you're going to use this option over here, and you're going to have this at quality. I highly recommend you go and use this at quality over here right now at this very moment. You can go with balance, you can get away with balance, but the game doesn't look that good. Performance, it looks like dog water. Don't use that. It looks like dog shit. Don't. You're going to use balanced or quality. If you can get away with quality, go with quality. Now, something I just want to point out is this over here. Filmic SMAA 22 times helps with jagged edges in the game. Now, if you don't want to see any jagged edges in your game while you are playing, if you don't care about it and you want more FPS out of your machine and you really need that FPS, click on this and go to SMAA 22 times, not Filmic. You'll get jagged edges, but it's sometimes not even noticeable. A lot of people don't even notice it, and a lot of people don't even care about it. So if you only care about getting better FPS and making your game run smooth, use this option over here and have this at normal. Don't go high, don't go ultra, and don't go low. You're going to have this at normal over here. Then your video memory scale, I would recommend either between 65 or 50. Try out 50 first, and then if you see you're still doing the exact same frames as 50 to 65 to 75, then run it at 75 if you're doing the exact same frames. You want your graphics card to use the VRAM that it needs to be using. Okay, then over here, you're going to leave this at low if you are struggling with FPS, high, high, and high. Do not change these three things. Do not change it. I repeat, do not change it. Your game's going to look like shit. You don't want that. Okay, AMD FSR, another one would be Fidelity FX Cache. The reason why I skipped over this one is because this one's dog shit. Okay, trust me. At your own opinion, yet again, you might be able to get away with this because it's your own opinion, it's your machine. I can't tell you exactly what to be using, but I skipped over this because this was actually dog shit. Don't use AMD FSR 2.1. Don't use it. You're going to go to Fidelity FX Cache, and a lot of people are using this with high-end machines to medium to low-end machines. A lot of people are using Fidelity FX Cache today still with like really good machines. Then your Fidelity FX Cache strength, I have mine normally at 60 like this with my personal rig, my personal display. Okay, this is a very good upscaling and sharpening. Try this out. Okay, then you're going to change this to Filmic SMA 2 times so you don't get jagged edges, because this is a very sharp upscaling. So when you have this at this, the jagged edges becomes worse. So have it at Filmic SMA 2 times, have this at normal, this at 50, and then you're going to play around with it. From 50 to 65 to 75, and you should be good to go. You can even try all the way to 90% video memory scale. Okay, that's what you're going to need to do. You're going to have this at low. You can then try, since you have Fidelity FX Cache on now, and it's very sharp, you can now try having this at normal. If your machine can run it with normal. The game looks really, really good. Now for competitive settings, and you don't really care about the quality of the game because there's not much of a difference between normal and low. If you have a machine that runs this at normal perfectly fine, go with normal. But if you're struggling and you want more FPS, go with low, because your game still looks like that, not like this at low. You want more FPS, you want competitive settings, use that at low. Always have this at high, high, and high. Alright, let's go over the rest of the shit in this game. So we're going to scroll down, and we're going to come to clutter draw distance. You're going to have this at short, particle quality at low. Particle quality level plays a role with this one over here. You're going to have this at normal. Bullet impacts, you're going to turn this on. It has no impact on your CPU, RAM, GPU, nothing. You can have this on, I know it says low here, meaning so it doesn't have a lot of impact on your CPU itself. So just put it on. Don't put it off. Put it on. Leave it on. It doesn't do much with FPS in this game. This one over here, damage layers, is your own personal preference. Shader quality at low. This is an FPS hogger. No, you do not need to change this. So leave it at low. You should be good to go. Tessellation, off, off, always off. Leave it the fuck off. Don't touch this. I'm going to go over. Right. This one over here, on-demand tester streaming. Highly recommend you turn this off. You do not need this. Now, something I want to point out is this here plays a very big role with Modern Warfare 2. Alright, so something I just want to point out is this over here. The streaming quality plays a very big role in Modern Warfare 2. Not in Warzone. You don't want to do it in Warzone, okay? You don't want to go from low to normal in Warzone. But you can. You can. But this is a Modern Warfare 2 video. But you can also do this for Warzone as well. But if your machine can handle it, only if your machine can handle it. So this is a very big pointer out there. Okay, so I have mine at normal right now, and let me show you the difference. If I put this at low, I do 2,246 on my memory, right? If I go to normal, I'll go to 2,446. That means 200 megs are being used from changing this to low to normal. Normal makes the game look literally much, much better. Yes, you're going to get a dip in FPS, like 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 FPS. If you don't care about dipping 5 FPS less in your game, go with normal. The game looks fantastic with this at normal. Alright, volumetric quality at low, physics quality off, water quality is still an option, and it will always be an option because the developers are on fucking crack. If you come here, please for the love of fuck, just put this on default, because these are FPS hoggers and you don't need it. You do not need it. It's Modern Warfare 2. It's small maps. It's competitive. If you're playing ranked and stuff like that, why would you care about how the water fucking looks? You are there to shoot someone in their face, not to jump in the water and be like, oh, this looks so great. Wow. And to be honest with you, If I change it to this, or this, or this, right? And I go play multiplayer and jump into water, there is no difference between these. There are no difference. The only difference is I do less FPS with my machine. And if you're already struggling with this game, don't fucking use this. You can see your enemy on default in the water. Putting this on this doesn't mean you're going to see your enemy better in the water. Trust me, it doesn't fucking work. It doesn't. Leave it at default and leave it at fucking default. I don't know why this is an option, and I know I rant always about this option, but I'm going to be ranting about this option until they fucking remove it. Alright, so this plays a very, very big role on the impact on your FPS inside this game. It's the shadow and lighting in this game. Shadow and lighting you do not need. This is competitive settings that I'm giving you, and to give you more FPS. So what you're going to need to do here is go to shadow map resolution, very low, screen space shadows, low, spot shadow quality, low, spot cache, ultra with Modern Warfare 2, high, Warzone. Modern Warfare 2, ultra, gives you less input latency, makes the game feel better. Go with ultra over here. Particle lighting, low. Ambient occlusion, off, always off. Don't fucking put this on. Only if you are playing the single player mode or you're playing the raid. The raid should be releasing soon, raid 5. Then I'll probably be using this because it makes the game look really fucking awesome. But then I start putting everything to like high. But competitive settings and you just playing the fucking game, turn it off. Leave it the fuck off. Thank you. Come down to where it says screen space reflections, off. Static reflection quality, low. Weather grid volumes, off. You are not going to have this at normal. You are not going to have this at low. You are not going to have this at high or ultra. It's an FPS hogger and you do not need it. You do not need to see the weather in this fucking game. You want to see enemies that you're going to be shooting to win games. Alright, that's competitive settings. It's called competitive settings for a reason. Turn this the fuck off. Depth of field, off. World motion blur, off. Weapon motion blur, off. Form grain is your own personal preference. I've actually seen people, I don't know, change this to a little bit higher, like literally lifting this up. I don't know why you do that, but yet again, it's your own personal preference, not mine. This is my settings, and I highly recommend you go ahead and then apply these settings for your specific machine, for whatever upscaling I told you to use inside here. Try which one works the best for your machine. You're going to come to view like this, and then this is your own personal preference as well. I'm not going to tell you what to do inside here, but you can copy my settings if you want to. You can copy my settings as is. I have my FOV at 120 so I can see more on my left and right hand side. But yet again, like I said, it's your own personal preference. I can't tell you what to do here. Alright, now something I want to do is, I'm just going to apply these settings. I don't know why I'm applying it, but it's already applied. Something I want to point out is this, and it plays a very big role inside Modern Warfare 2. Right, we're going to go to interface, and we're going to scroll all the way down. We're going to come over here. Right. Inverted flash is fucking amazing, and a lot of people don't take advantage of this. Go ahead and tick this on. Put it on. Instead of your room becoming completely white at night while you are playing this game, it will go dark. Your screen looks like it's shutting down, basically. It's actually a nice feature in the game, and a lot of people don't use this. A lot of people don't have this on either, so they see the intro of the fucking game every fucking time they launch it. Turn this on so you can skip straight into the fucking game. So copy everything I have here inside here as is, and you should be perfectly fine. Something I want to point out is this over here. I have MSI Afterburner at the top here. I use MSI Afterburner. A lot of people don't use this. So if you want to see what FPS you are doing and what you're doing inside your game, go ahead and turn this to all on. You can see your FPS, your latency, your packet loss, your GPU's temperature, your GPU's timing, your GPU's clock, VRAM usage, CPU timing, and the actual time. I highly recommend turning this all to on. Alright, you're going to scroll all the way up to where you see color customization. You're going to click on this, click on filter 2, both 100%, 100%, and come down here. Now, one thing I just want to point out is this over here. Turn your team and your party to the exact same color. It can be any color you prefer, just make it the same color, your party and your team. Because in ranked play, you can actually shoot your teammates. You can actually kill your teammates. And I get pretty upset if my teammate fucking kills me. It's really fucking annoying. You don't want to be that guy in ranked play where you kill your own teammate, okay? So make sure you have these two at the exact same color. Just make that the exact same color. Please, for the love of fuck, make it the exact same color. I'm so tired of my teammates shooting me and throwing me with grenades because they can't see the difference between the enemies and me as a teammate. It's fucking annoying. Please go ahead and do this. It's a really nice feature for you if you're playing ranked mode, so you can see your team and your party, because they always change colors. Okay? Now, enemy, you're going to come over here and choose your own personal preference. I know the default one is red, but you can go ahead and change it to your own personal preference. I have mine as pink. So when I play ranked mode and I'm playing control or whatever the case might be, like search and destroy and stuff like that, everything's pink. So like hard point, the location is pink. It stands out a fuck ton on my screen. So I would recommend using a very bright color that you prefer. Go ahead and use this. It plays a very big role in the game. Trust me, it does. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the last step and the most important step you're going to need to do is this over here. You're going to come to the display settings and you're going to click on Restart Shader Optimization and click Restart. Now, something I just want to point out is this over here. Eco Mode is a new thing in Call of Duty right now, and I highly recommend that you go ahead and turn this off. Turn it the fuck off. This cuts your FPS in half. This will put your FPS to the refresh rate of your monitor. So most likely if you have a 60 Hz monitor, it will do 60. Some people are doing 60 FPS or even less, but they have 144 Hz monitors by putting it in minimal or full. So I recommend that you go ahead and turn this the fuck off, because yours will normally be defaulted to minimal or full. Don't fucking have this on. Don't have it on. You are going to do less FPS and you're going to be like, yo dude, I'm doing like 60 FPS for some reason. I don't know why the fuck I'm doing 60 FPS. I got like a NASA fucking machine. I paid so much money for this machine, but I'm doing 60 FPS. It's this option over here. Turn it the fuck off. Turn it the fuck off. Once you're done turning it off, you're going to apply your settings and you're going to click on Restart Shader Optimization, click on Restart. You're going to go out of your game, restart your computer, come back into the game, launch the game. Then at the top here it's going to say installing shaders. Let it finish. It's going to apply your settings for you. And ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here, and if you want to be so kind enough to support my YouTube channel even more, hit that super thanks button. It actually helps me a lot. As always, peace